Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you have any questions, put them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them. We can have a discussion about it. Good morning, Eileen. Hope you are okay. I saw your text, so look forward to your email later. Any questions? Okay. So it doesn't seem we have any questions. It is just on 10:30, so we're going to start. So we always begin by just settling in, bringing the mind and body together in the same place. Usually we're really scattered, running here and there. We're running up to the future. We're ruminating on the past. We're kind of in some other place besides the present moment. So we want to make sure that we are calm and grounded and present. So let's take a moment just to do that. Then we want to generate a bodhicitta motivation. Bodhicitta means awakened mind heart. It is the wish to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all mother sentient beings. And everything we do on this path, we aim to have that as our motivation. We come to the path for different reasons, usually personal, uh, selfish in quotes reasons, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Usually people come to meditation because they want to become calmer or they want to um, be more more healthier, or they want to find something for themselves. I don't know if it ever happens. I suppose it does somewhere in the world where people come to meditation to be able to benefit others. But that is really the point, from the Buddhist point of view, that is the point of meditation is to and any other kind of practice and study that we do is to benefit others. So why? Well, look around, what do you see? There's so much suffering in this world. And I'm not just talking about far-flung places like Palestine. I also mean your very neighbors, your own family, um, the animals you see when you're walking in the woods, it's just everywhere. So when we see that, our natural compassion arises, hopefully, excuse me. And the wish to remove their suffering arises with that. So that merged with the wisdom which understands the cause of suffering as fundamental ignorance means the way out of suffering for ourselves and others is to attain enlightenment. So that's bodhicitta. Okay, so we're going to try to have that motivation. If we don't understand that or it seems too big, that's fine. At least we can make the inspiration or the aspiration rather to that the time we spend together this morning is beneficial to others as well as ourselves. So please take a moment to do that. Sanda Samgarabshidi Sampamakaraja Bandishuna Susunaknatatangasaso Kajaramanam Sowade Omi and Shaki Ki Pojane Dusum Sange Kunking Owane and Sam Shakun Sundat Sipa. So wait a minute, Shapa Sowade. Okay, so today I want to talk about family since um, many of us will be visiting family or dealing with family at some level during the holiday season. It can be fraught, it can be joyful, it can be fraught and joyful, it can be a lot of things. So I just want to talk about that from the Buddhist point of view, from the point of view of the teachings. Okay. So, we may have family, we may not have family if we're older. A lot of times, all of our family has already passed away. We may have family that we really get along with, that we love, we can't wait to see. We may have family that, we're estranged from because of abuse or what have you. We may have family that's mixed, some people in our family that we really get along with, some people that we really don't. It's okay, Tim. Hi. Hi, Tess and Lucy. So a family can take all these different configurations, okay? So I want to talk a little bit about each one of those. But first, I want to talk about family in general, okay? When we're born into two particular parents, right, in particular family, that's the result of our own karma, okay? So karma means, well, the word karma actually means action, okay? So we have the actions that we do, and then we have the result of those actions, and that can be positive, negative, or mixed. Okay, so we have a strong karmic connection with our families. All right, so it may be people or animals or other beings from previous lives that we've reconnected with. Um, it seems to happen rather frequently that families might be born into their families. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say your grandpa passes away, and then not long after that, like a year after that or something, you have a baby, and that baby has that child, when they can talk and stuff, might have memories of that. Like one of our members, um, it happened like that. Her grandfather passed away, and then sometime after that, she had a daughter. And my friend who was part of one of our members, she she told me she had a strange feeling about her girl, that she always brought back memories of her grandfather. So she was kind of like, I don't know, maybe that is my grandpa. And she kind of got very, uh, I would say it was almost verification. But her grandfather was really into photography, and my friend had, let's just call her Mary, because I'm kind of getting confused between she, because she talked about the daughter as well. So let's say Mary is the adult. So Mary's daughter looks in their closet, and they had like a kind of nondescript, like it didn't have pictures of cameras or anything, but she had her Mary had her grandfather's um old, like, camera case, kind of, with the camera equipment inside, but it wasn't marked by anything, didn't have pictures on it or anything. It was just like this sort of leather case. And her daughter, she had never spoken to this about this case to her daughter. Um, she never tried to, like, make anything happen or whatever, but she happened to be looking in that closet one day, and her daughter kind of pointed to the case and said, "Oh, there's my camera equipment." So, I mean, how is she going to know that, right? So things like that can happen. Usually, it's less romantic than that, but we definitely have a strong karmic connection with our family. Okay, now that connection can be positive karmic connection, or it can be a negative karmic connection, or it can be a karmic connection of debt, meaning, like, we owe them something, or they owe us something. For example, like in previous life, we were very mean to them, and so we created this kind of karmic debt. Or they were very kind to us, and that can be a kind of debt also, right? So it's kind of complicated, but just in general, one can say you have a karmic connection with all of your family members. Sometimes it's stronger, sometimes it's weaker. It really depends. Karma is extremely complicated. Okay. A lot of times people feel like it's easy to understand, but it's really not. It's very intricate and complicated subject. So in any case, we have this karmic connection with our family. Okay. So that can take many forms. All right. As I said, all these forms that I mentioned, okay? You get along, you don't get along, people are kind, people are abusive, all sorts of things can happen. So, what do we do with our family if a lot of people face the situation around the holidays where they feel obliged to be around their family or they want to be there, but there are, um, it's fraught, let's say, okay? So, how as a Buddhist do we handle that? Okay. So, first, it's important to understand that we're not obliged to be with our families. Okay. Sometimes people feel that even though their family is really abusive, it's family, and so I should go. I mean, that's your choice. For sure, that's your choice. But if your family is abusive, you're not obliged to spend time with them. You're not obliged to talk to them. You can go no contact with them. That is not seen as a fault from the Buddhist point of view, because there's often this misunderstanding about compassion that that we have to become martyrs, that we have to allow ourselves to be abused, or we have to allow ourselves to suffer because of compassion. No, compassion has to always be matched with wisdom. There's two sides of the same coin, okay? They have to be together, compassion and wisdom. Otherwise, we fall into something called idiot compassion, where, yeah, we just let people walk all over us, because we're trying to be compassionate, or, you know, like a parent who just gives their kid junk food all day because they think they're being nice to the kid, but in fact, they're making the kid sick. Okay, that's idiot compassion. Okay, so I just want to get that out of the way because it's a common question or comment, that people feel confused about. So please don't be confused about that. You're never obliged to let yourself be abused. Okay. So let's say that it's not really a situation of abuse, but there's some family members or a family member that you have difficulty with, and they're going to be there. What are you going to do? All right. So, from the Buddhist point of view, we need to take a lot of different things into consideration for that. Okay. How do we handle that? What do we do? Do we argue with that person? That's what a lot of people do, right? That person might start the fight, or you might start the fight, and then there's a lot of, you know, negativity as a result of that. We want to avoid that. We want to avoid that. Really, it's not worth it. It's not helpful. It's not useful. We have to ask ourselves the question, is this going to change anything? Am I going to change this person's mind today around the dinner table about anything, about politics or religion or relationships or whatever they want to fight about? We're not going to change their mind, and that's okay. That's all right. People need to see things for themselves. Um, I'm not saying that it's useless to um, try to change things in general, like with our society, with the world. Like, I'm not saying, oh, don't protest or don't write letters or, don't try to educate people because nothing's going to change. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying around the dinner table at Christmas time or Hanukkah or whatever it is you're celebrating, you know, that's not really the time. It's not the time. And if that person is raising it, maybe it's because they want to argue. So, change the subject, walk away, start talking to somebody else. There's no reason to fight. Okay. I would really suggest, if you know you're going to come in contact with someone that in your family, their immediate or extended family, that you have difficulty with, I would suggest before you even go to do the practice of Tonglen for that person, the practice of exchange, all right, which we'll be doing later today. When we do this practice for someone, so in case you're not familiar, the practice involves visualizing the person, in this case, someone we have difficulty with, and really trying to connect with them and trying to let go of our own sort of resentment and um, prejudgment and things like that. But just trying to connect with them in their own pain, where they're coming from, and all of that, and then taking in their pain and offering them relief. Okay, that's the general um, idea of Tonglen practice. If we do that before we see them, we're going to walk into that situation with a much different frame of mind. Okay, and they're going to feel that, whether they realize it or not, they're going to feel that. All right. Normally, when we have difficulty with someone, what we don't realize is that we're maintaining the dynamic of tension ourselves, right? Even if we are completely innocent, we never did anything wrong, we were born an angel, we will die an angel, okay? Even in that case, we're still maintaining that tension or that kind of, I don't know, difficult energy between us. How are we maintaining that? Through our resentment, okay, through our holding on to history, through our desire to defend ourselves and protect our ego and all these kind of things, yeah, and our fear. All of that is that maintaining this from their side, if you want to think of it this way, pardon me. From their side, we can think, we might think, they're maintaining it by being a bad person and always wanting to fight with us and having all these terrible views on the world, and or wanting to stir things up or drinking too much or whatever it is that we're blaming them for. Okay, nonetheless, we are holding that space. Okay, if we do tonglen for them, we can't, that energy cannot be maintained because we are changing our place. We're changing our position from fear and anger and resentment and all of that to compassion, right? We have compassion for them. So it's important to understand having compassion for someone who we find difficult or who we think is a bad person or whatever is not the same as saying, oh, you're right, everything you say and do is correct, and I'm not gonna, you can beat me up if you want. It's not that, okay? It's not that at all. It's just connecting with their pain. And believe me, there's a lot of pain there. Connecting with their pain with a sense of compassion, okay? With a sense of understanding and of wanting them to be free of that pain. It does mean we become a doormat, a martyr, blah, blah, blah. All right. It just means we have put our heart in a different place. Yeah. Instead of our heart being in the place of tension, fear, resentment, da da da, our heart is in the place of compassion for them. And they will sense that. They will sense that absolutely if we're there, right? Depending on the situation, we might not be able to be there, and that's fine. But it is really worth trying to do this practice ahead of time so that when we approach this person, we're approaching them with love and compassion. Okay. That will bring more peace to us, more peace to them, and more peace to the whole environment, actually, if we can do it. All right. If we can't do it, we shouldn't beat ourselves up. It's not easy to just change years or decades of habits in a finger snap, right? It takes time, but it's so worth trying. Okay. Tonglen is just such a beautiful, powerful practice that is easy to do and really, really worth it. Okay. So that's one thing. We can just approach them with compassion. If we are entering that situation of visiting with family for the holidays and we have no problem with anybody and we're just happy, that's also a great opportunity to practice. We can also do Tonglen for others in that situation and just think, may everyone who has family problems be free of those family problems. May everyone find the joy with their family that I now have. May everyone love each other and overcome their pain and their difficulties and their obscurations. That's a practice. That's a practice we can do even if everything is great. In both cases, it's important to remember the teachings on impermanence. All right. Impermanence is one of the foundational teachings of the Buddha. In fact, the Buddha called the contemplation of impermanence the king of all practices. It's pretty intense to say this is the king of all practices. But why? Because understanding impermanence, becoming familiar with impermanence, is so helpful in reducing our suffering. And the whole path, pardon me, is about removing suffering for ourselves and others. That's the whole reason for this path. Okay. So, how does impermanence help? Let's take the difficult situation. All right. We can bring to mind when we find ourselves getting tense and like, you know, feeling hurt and um, feeling uncomfortable and attacked or whatever. We remember impermanence, we think, okay, this is just one night. It's not my whole, it's not something I have to experience forever. In an hour or two, I'm going to go home and I can be away from this situation. You can think like that. Yeah. Um, in the situation of someone who, has a good family life, then we can think, this is impermanent and I really want to appreciate this. And again, not everybody has this, and may everyone have this, etc. Um, the teachers say that the relationships that we have in this life are like people passing in the marketplace. Yeah, it's very quick. It's actually very quick. Um, life is really short. It might not feel like it, depending on what you're going through. But, if you think about it, if you just look around, like turtles live longer than us, trees live longer than us, a lot of parrots live longer than us. Our life is really short, and we go from one life to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and all these relationships that we're having ebb and flow and change from one life to the next, even in this life. Yeah. Even in this life, our relationships change. We look at there's generally three types of people in our lives. There's strangers, there's friends, and there's so-called enemies, or the people that we don't like. All right. So when we think about just bring to mind someone, anyone that you really like, whether it's a friend or a family member, all right? At some point, let's take a romantic relationship. It's a little bit easier. So at some point, your uh, partner was a complete stranger to you, yeah? And then maybe they were a friend, and then they were a romantic partner, all right? If you look back on your life, you'll see that, if you've dated around, and you're older, you'll see many relationships like that. Strangers, friends, uh, loved ones, and then you have a fight, they cheat on you, they betray you, whatever it is, right? Then enemies, yeah, then you hate that person. It's so interesting, right? The people that we hate the most in our personal life are often those that we loved the most. It's sad, but that's the way it is, right? Then we hate them, we don't want to talk to them, we, kick them out of our life, whatever, and then they become strangers again. Yeah, so it's a whole cycle of relationship in just this life. So if it can change that much in just this life, imagine how it changes from life to life. Yeah, because of these right karmic connections we have. And again, there's a famous story of this really accomplished practitioner who could see past and future lives. And there was a woman sitting in the courtyard of this village, and she has a baby. She's holding her baby, and she's like cooing at her baby and how much she loves her baby. And she's eating fish curry. And there's a dog coming around who wants the curry as well. You have to understand that India, dogs are considered kind of like, I think it's changing now, but sort of when I was there in the 80s, it was like vermin, sort of considered vermin. So she's kicking the dog away, holding her little baby, cooing to her little baby, eating fish curry. And this master sees that the baby that she's holding and loving on so much was her most hated neighbor. She hated this person, all right? And the person died and was reborn as her baby. So now she loves this baby that she hated so much. The fish curry is her father, who was reborn a fish and was killed, and now she's eating. And the dog was her mother, who she's kicking, who she's now kicking away. And he explains the situation, and he says, I don't know whether to laugh or cry looking at this situation, you know? So we should not sort of allow our views of our relationships to be solidified, okay? They change all the time. They change, even in this life, they change all the time. From one life to the next, they change tremendously. Excuse me. So we shouldn't hold so tightly onto them and, you know, create more negative karma for ourselves by fighting and, harming them because our wounds are so deep, etc. Okay. We need to loosen up how we see these relationships. And, that's part of the practice when we do Tonglen for someone we're having difficulty with. One of the things we do is to consider the changing nature of relationships and kind of try to loosen up this, this concrete kind of that we poured over the situation and feeling like it was always like that, it will always be like that. It's not true. It's not true, but we need to think about that. Was it always like that? If we're having, if we're contemplating how our parents treated us, for example, we can feel like, yeah, it was always like that, like from the time that I was baby until now, it's been this horrible situation. Okay, that's fair, that's fair enough in this life. But if we consider past and future lives, that doesn't hold. It doesn't hold. All right. And in that situation too, we have to think about our own karma. There's nothing that can we experience that we did not create the causes for it. Don't get upset. Don't don't do it. Don't get upset. Okay. It's not blaming the victim. If we are talking about karma, we have to consider all our previous lives and future lives as well. So it's a very wide spectrum, and it's not meant in to be judgmental. It's meant to be seen as non like how can I say, like not non-emotional, if I can say that, like matter of fact, in a matter of fact way. Like I'm looking outside right now out the window and I see snow. That's just there because causes and conditions came together to create this situation that it has snowed a lot in the past few days. Right? Earth is in a certain position, sun is in a certain position, atmospheres, has certain conditions, and now we have snow. I don't need to feel mad about that. I don't need to feel happy about that. That's just the way it is. That's how we should see karma. Okay. Not, oh, I must be such a bad person because I'm suffering so much. No, it's just how things are. This is why we want to get out of this mess, right? Because we're the ones who keep samsara going. I mean all beings, right? We're the ones who keep this mess going, this cyclic existence through our negative acts, all right? And then it creates certain perception, and then we suffer. Oh, the opposite for positive acts creates certain perception, and then we feel happy. Yeah, that's karma. That's just how it works. Karma's a really tricky subject. As I keep saying, I struggle every time I talk about it because there's so much to say and there's never much enough time to say it. But if we are starting at some point, hopefully next year, starting again our 3-year program. On the first year, we study a text called Words of My Perfect Teacher, and then we'll talk about karma quite a lot. We'll go quite deeply in that class. Okay, so um, I think in brief, you know, if we are getting together with our family, no matter the situation, we really want to do our best to be loving, understanding, and compassionate, but not to the point of allowing ourselves to be abused. Okay. If we have no family, or if we will be alone on Christmas or other holidays, then that's an opportunity for us to, um, again, to do Tonglen, to use our suffering of being alone as an opportunity to do Tonglen for all those who are alone. There's a lot of suffering around the holidays too, right? I mean, the media and sort of our general society is all like tra la la, fa la 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 la, happy, happy time, but it's not a happy time for a lot of people, right? I have a friend, for example, who lost her husband last month. So this is going to be her first Christmas without him and her kid's first Christmas without him. So a lot of people have that experience, okay? A lot of people have the experience of being lonely around the holidays, you know, because they miss their family or they wish they had a family who cared about them. We can think about those people. We can go and, visit people who are alone, our neighbors or people in old age homes or this kind of thing. So we can help others who are suffering the way we're suffering. So there's a lot of other ways we could be practicing as well, but these are just a few ideas that we can apply no matter what our situation is around the holidays. Okay, so I hope you can remember that. I hope I can remember that too, and do our best to put the Buddha's teachings into practice over the holidays. All right, so let's do some meditation. Okay, we're going to start with mindfulness of breathing, and then we'll go into the Tonglen practice. Okay, so as I know, probably everybody here watching already knows, but I have to explain. We want to start by taking the posture of meditation. Okay, so if you're sitting on your bed or you're sitting on the floor, you just want to cross your legs in whatever way is most comfortable for you. If you're sitting in a chair, just have your feet flat on the floor. Okay. All the other instructions are the same. Can have put your hands palms down on your knees, palms up, resting one on top of the other like that in your lap, or with your fingers on top and your thumbs touching like that in your lap. Okay. Arms should be relaxed, so you're not sort of holding them out, you're not squeezing them in, just relax. The back is straight, so that's really the most important thing because of all the nerves, right, running up and down the back. So back of your neck is also straight, so your chin's going to be tucked in a little bit. Shoulders should be back. So normally what I do is roll my shoulders back one time, and you'll see the difference that makes if you do it. Mouth is closed but relaxed, tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. We're breathing through the nose. The eyes are half open, looking down the relaxed few feet in front of you, the relaxed lowered gaze. If you're feeling very tense and sort of speedy, you can close your eyes, uh, until you calm down and then open them. Or if you're not used to meditating with your eyes open, you can practice over time, close them, open them until you feel uncomfortable, close them again like that, slowly work up to it. It is important generally to have them open. Okay, so that's what we're doing with our body. Then what are we doing with our mind? We want to bring our awareness to the sensation of the breath coming in and out of the nose. So we're sort of focusing at the end of the nostrils there. So take a moment to just notice that sensation, please. Okay, so that is going to be the focus of your relaxed awareness. I am avoiding concentration because as soon as you say concentration, people do that. Don't do that. Right? Just focus on the breath. sensation of the breath, and try to keep that unbroken awareness while letting the thoughts come and go, right? We're not trying to stop thinking, okay? Just thoughts will arise, dwell, and disappear, arise, dwell, and disappear, etc. Like clouds in the sky, just coming and going, while we maintain awareness of the breath. Most likely, we're going to get distracted. One of those thoughts is going to carry us away. All right. So I'm going to give you an example of what we're trying to avoid and what we're trying to do. Okay. So what we're trying to avoid is this. We're sitting and okay, we spend a few moments, focusing on the breath, letting the thoughts come and go. And then thought arises, oh, Christmas is like in 12 days, or 10 days. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot to get a present for this one. And how am I going to do that? And how am I going to oh, I remember, yeah, I remember when we became friends, and oh, she reminds me of my sister, and I remember when I was 7 and I had this and this for Christmas, this is what we're trying to avoid, okay? It's gonna happen. That's why this is a practice, okay? If that happens, just let it go. Bring the mind back to the breath, all right? So what we want to do is that, just let it go, bring the mind back to the breath. So let's say that we're sitting, focusing on the breath. Thought arises, Christmas, etc. It's just another thought. We just let that go. It'll be replaced by another related or unrelated thought. We let that go also. We can label it if we want, if that helps. We can label it thinking and come back to the breath. All right. But if you do get distracted, no big deal. It's not a failing. Okay. It's just you got distracted. It's normal. As soon as you realize that, bring your mind to the breath. Okay. So let's start that now, please. Now begin to count the breaths, counting either every in breath or every out breath for a total of 10 breaths. We count because it helps us realize more quickly if we've gotten distracted. So if you find that you've lost count, means you got distracted, no big deal. Just bring the mind back, start again at 1. You get to 10 without losing count. Don't let that fact distract you. Just go back, start again at 1. So just 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 10. Okay? So please begin that now. Okay, now we're going to move into the practice of Tonglen. So we're going to begin by just settling the mind into its natural state. So we're not trying to concentrate on anything, like we were just trying to concentrate on the breath. At the same time, we're not distracted. So just let the mind settle without trying to do anything, without running after anything, um, without letting your mind wander. Just be for a moment. And for this practice, it's really fine if you want to close your eyes. It's a different kind of practice. So I'm going to start by just visualizing in your heart center, so like the middle of your chest, a very bright white light like a shining star. And then imagine that you're breathing in gray smoke, which is hot in temperature, heavy, dark. Breathe that in through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center till there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. Then you want to breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body. The light has the qualities of being light in weight, clean, clear, cool in temperature, very bright. And just breathe that out in every direction. So that's the mechanism of this practice. So now imagine in front of you someone you have difficulty with. So it can be a family member, it can be not a family member, just anyone who you have a difficult time with. Picture them in front of you. So the first thing we want to consider is the changing nature of relationships. As we said earlier, so friends become enemies, enemies become friends, etc. You may have at some point had a good relationship with this person, and something happened and now you have difficulties. You may have a good relationship with them in the future if things change. This is definitely possible. So there's no need to hold on to this relationship in its current iteration as permanent. It is not permanent. And we want to consider why people act the way they do, why anybody, including ourselves, might do something negative towards someone else. If we look at that, we'll see that it is coming out of pain, coming out of some kind of suffering. Doesn't mean that it's okay. We're just trying to recognize that suffering. So all beings without exception want to be happy, want to be free from suffering. Okay? And every single act that we do at its base has that dynamic. We want to be happy, we don't want to suffer. When we do negative acts, say negative things, it's because we're suffering and we have the mistaken idea that doing or saying something that is negative will relieve our suffering, that it will make us feel better. But it's not going to make us feel better. But that's how we feel. So we need to think about that from this person's point of view. Right or wrong, we're not saying it's right, okay? Just that's the mechanism at play. They're suffering somehow, and so they did or said something that harmed us because they thought it would make themselves feel better. So we're trying to connect with that suffering, with where they're coming from there. Again, right or wrong, doesn't matter. But from their point of view, they acted that way because they were overwhelmed by their own suffering. If this person is habitually negative towards like a lot of people or everyone, for sure they're suffering a lot, for sure. And they find themselves isolated, they find themselves in conflict all the time, and usually they don't understand why. So imagine living in that kind of world where you feel everyone's attacking you all the time for no reason. That's how often these people feel. So we can at least generate some sense of compassion for that, for their suffering that cause them to act in negative ways, that results in suffering for themselves, and that they probably don't understand why. And if we look at our own actions throughout our life, it's pretty easy to find examples of when we did the same thing or similar things, meaning harming others because we ourselves were suffering. And we need to think of the totality of this person and not just their negativity, right? So the person that we hate the most or dislike the most, that same person is someone else's favorite person in the world. Even if this person is really unkind to us, often they're kind to others, they're kind to their family, or they're nice to their dog, right? They have that capacity for kindness. They're not one note that we might see them as. Okay? So, and we want to consider whatever other ways this person is suffering. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're worried about money, maybe they're in the middle of a divorce, maybe they're grieving, whatever it is that they might be going through. So we imagine that all their suffering, whatever it is, takes the form of gray smoke, hot, dark, and heavy. It leaves them and it comes to you, and you breathe that in through all the pores of your body. And all of that smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. And then you offer them your own happiness, giving it away, your own good fortune, anything at all that they may need to feel better, and the wish that they attain full enlightenment in this very life. All of that taking the form of white light, cool, clear, very bright. You breathe out this white light through all the pores of your body, and the light goes towards this person. And when these rays of light touch them, they transform. All of their suffering just lifts off of them. And they feel so relaxed and happy and at ease. And you feel really joyful for being able to do this for them. Now we're going to extend this towards all beings, doing the same process for all beings. So we imagine them all around us, in front, as many beings as we can conceive of, stretching all the way to the horizon. To the right again, as many people, as many beings as we can imagine, all the way to the horizon. Behind, same thing, to the horizon, and to the left, all the way to the horizon. So now we're surrounded by countless sentient beings to whom we are connected one way or another. Buddha taught that all beings have at one point or another in our countless lives been our kind and loving mother. If that's not comfortable for us for whatever reason, you can just consider that we're the same as all beings in wanting to be happy, wanting to avoid suffering. And we can consider all the connections, seen and unseen, that we have with others just to maintain our life. Those who grow our food and ship and sell our food, those who make our clothing, those who've given us a job, those who maintain roads and utilities, those who built our house or our apartment building, our car, it's endless. So we're connected in that way too. So we consider these countless sentient beings all around us and whatever kind of sufferings they may be going through at the moment. And we consider that their suffering takes the form of gray smoke, hot, heavy, and dark. It leaves all of them and it comes to you with a great deal of openness and compassion. You breathe that in through all the pores of your body, and all of the smoke dissolves into the white light in your heart center until there's not a single particle of smoke left. There's only light. And you offer all these beings your own happiness, your own good fortune, along with anything at all that they may need to feel better, and adding on top the wish that they attain full and complete enlightenment in this very lifetime. All of that takes the form of white light, cool, clear, very bright. And you breathe out this white light. It's so powerful. Every single pore of your body emanating a ray of white light in every direction as far as the eye can see. And when this light touches all these beings, each individually, their suffering just lifts off of them and disappears like fog in the morning sun. And they feel so happy, peaceful, at ease. And we feel really joyful for being able to do this for them. Now we let go of the visualization altogether, gently bringing the mind back to the awareness of the breath and into the present moment, here and now. Okay, so now we're going to do the closing prayers, which you can download in the links below, but I'm going to share the screen because I know there's always people who have not done that. Don't leave because there are some important announcements coming after. So let's do the prayers first and then do the announcements. Okay, where are we at here? Sorry. Oh, there we go. Okay, so these are long life prayers for our teachers. These we just say in Tibetan, but you're welcome to read them in English if you like. Just say once each in Tibetan. Starting with the Dalai Lama, and then under that, Jigme Khyentse Rinpoche, etc. Kanri wawe kowe shinkansu pendande wa malu tuene. Chene siwan tenzin yasu ye. Shape kya ka ba tu tengyo shi. Om swasti jime kempe kalon yamparu. Kunkap se chen su se pungdawa. Nudu den sanam ke no bucho. Se che gawe shakin tam su so. Om swasti sela kyam su chin la ten jule. Unsin da se kyu chu pema. Samsum na dre go po da dene. Apchen ten te she ten ta ge sho. Nama kunkam sampo so ade. Chatu kuse ringo so ade. Jine tashin ge ba so ade. Lama da dre wa me ba chingi lo. On the next page, this prayer we do once in English, once in Tibetan, the remaining three just in English, and then the 100-syllable mantra. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, From the ocean of cyclic existence, may I free all beings. Sonamdi Damshe Zibani Tone Nepe Dranam Bamche Shing Kegana Jibanun Tupai Sipe Sole Doa Doa Shon. May bodhicitta, precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it never fail, but grow and flourish ever more and more. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain and dispel the miseries of the world. Ever absorbed in the display of divine forms and primordial awareness, appearance, sound, and perception in the state of divinities, mantras, and dharmakaya, may I, inseparable from the practice of the profound and secret great yoga, attain within the essence of mind the state of one taste. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Drido Me Bawa Sutokayo Me Bawa Supokayo Me Bawa Anurato Me Bawa Sawasidi Me Prayatsa Sawakama Sutsame Chitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Om Bhagavan Savatagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajriba Mahasamaya Sattva. Okay, so first, I want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's really, really good to have you. Now I have some announcements, so please listen up. So, first of all, there's a food drive in Lakewood on Friday, December 19th to Saturday, December 20th at the Masonic Temple. If you want to read more about that, please look at our latest newsletter, which I will post on our website. Uh, or you can email info@sgbcc.org and we'll send you the newsletter. Please volunteer for that if you can. It's known that they tend to not have enough people for the Christmas food drive, and they have a lot of people for Thanksgiving, but not enough for Christmas. So please, if you could show up for that, it would be so wonderful. And if you can't show up, if you could donate food and or money, that would be great. The organization is Lakewood. Oh shoot, I forgot. Lakewood. Um, I think can you put that in the chat, please, and I'll come back to that. So the next important announcement is that we are uh, going on winter break starting from now. So our winter break is from, well, let's say, I'm saying Monday, December 15th through Sunday, January 4th. So it's 3 good weeks to allow people to prepare for the holidays and things like that. So during that time, there will be no meditation, but there's a whole bunch of videos on this channel. You're always welcome to review those. You can pull up any video you like and have guided meditation. Typically, the meditation starts at 11, so half an hour in. So if you don't want to hear the talk again, there's no problem. Just fast forward to the meditation and you'll have guided meditation in your very own home, just like today. So we'll be back on that on January. January 10th is our next meditation, and that will be in person at the Lakewood Public Library and on YouTube. So join us for that. During this time, there will be 3 Buddha days. Again, sign up for the newsletter is always the best way, but I will be posting the newsletter on the website so you can have a look there for those dates and what to do. Um, Donations are always very, very welcome and very, very, very needed. We do have expenses, so I'm sorry to ask each time, but I really don't have a choice. So please think about that. Either best is really to become a member at whatever level you can manage. There's benefits for every level of membership, or if you prefer, a one-time donation is of course always appreciated. Please like this video, subscribe, and if you can make a comment, that's also helpful. And it doesn't have to be anything. It can be hello, it can be, oh, I liked this video, it can be, I don't know, hopefully not, but homo, you suck, you can say that too. I'll probably erase that though. But, but if you can make a comment, that would be great. It just helps drive traffic towards this channel. We're super small, but we just want to provide access to the Dharma for the maximum amount of people possible. So your part in that is very, very helpful. So please do those things and share this video with friends and family, share our website, what have you. Thanks, Eileen. So the name of the organization that does the food drive is the Lakewood Charitable Assistant Corporation, or LCAC. They're called the food drive people. So again, you can find that on Google, or you can look at our newsletter to get the information on that. So I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season and that it is peaceful and that you're able to practice in whatever way during that time. And I really look forward to seeing you again in January. So thank you again, and have a good holiday. Okay. Bye. Love you.